ancient communication grid. All over the world we find ancient towers, mounds, domes, and associated standing stones and underground structures. Is it possible that these seemingly isolated stone monuments littered across the globe were connected and worked as a network? If so, what purpose did they serve and how did they work? Since we have no clear records on how they functioned, we are often left to guess and frequently relegate them to defense, royal, and funerary purposes. We have increasingly understood that ancient societies traveled vast distances and sailed across oceans, thereby allowing them to share ideas, culture, and technology. This explains why people separated by oceans created very similar monuments and cultural artifacts, exhibiting similar architectural and artistic styles, as well as very similar myths and stories. However, I want to propose that these ancient societies not only communicated by travel, but also mastered distance communication, much like our modern telecommunication system, but using very different approaches and tools. They created vast networks of distant communication hubs, allowing them to send and receive messages across distant lands and seas. Was this some kind of Neolithic global infrasound broadcasting system? Sites and locations. Gobekli Tepe. Gobekli Tepe is a megalithic complex sat atop the hills near current-day Şanlıurfa in southeast Turkey, dated to about 12,000 to 14,000 years ago. The site is marked by anthropomorphic T-pillars. There are several bas-relief carvings of various animals, reptiles, birds, and serpents, as well as H-shaped symbols. The H-shaped Luwian symbol is the logogram for gate and is also found at another site called Arslan Tepe. Klaus Schmidt interpreted Gobekli Tepe as a ritual center to which hunter-gatherers from surrounding settlements congregated to feast and commemorate or even bury some of their significant dead, but did not rule out a shamanic purpose. Great Zimbabwe. The Great Zimbabwe stone monuments cover over 722 hectares in the southern part of modern Zimbabwe. The city's buildings were made of impressive granite walls, embellished with turrets, towers, decorations, and elegantly sculpted stairways. It was crafted with 900,000 pieces of professionally sliced granite blocks, laid on each other without any binders. The curious chevron pattern found on the walls may represent cross-geographical or interdimensional communication, symbolized by a waveform. Besides the prominent bird sculptures, one of the artifacts found at the Great Zimbabwe site was a carved wooden bowl, commonly called a zodiac bowl. Figures carved on its rim include stylized humans, a bovine, a feline, an elephant, the sun symbol, chevrons, a divining dice, an entrance gate, and other abstract images. In the center is a carved image of a crocodile in relief. Crocodiles symbolized communication with the spirit realms. Sardinia Nuraghes. There are almost 7,000 Nuraghes on the island of Sardinia, roughly dated from 2300 to 500 BC. They are typically constructed using dry stone. Access to the tower was almost always through an entrance at ground level, though some have raised entrances. On entering, there was normally a long passage to a ground floor chamber. Their purpose has remained unclear, although some have ascribed them religious and defense purposes. Peru Chullpas. Chullpas are stone towers erected by the pre-Incan inhabitants of Peru and Bolivia. They are cylindrical in shape and usually taper outwards from the bottom to the top, although their internal structural is conical. They were generally constructed without mortar, range from 2 to 12 meters, and are believed to have been used as tribal leader and noble tombs. Chullpa glyphs include lizard gators and long-necked geese, serpents, chimpanzees, zodiac cats, rats, and elephants. Peru Kuelap. Kuelap is a pre-Inca, pre-Columbian mountaintop fortress built by the Chachapoyans in northern Peru. Kuelap is considered the largest stone ruin site in the New World and is comprised of massive stone blocks, nearly 10 times the volume of the blocks used in the Giza Pyramid. The fortress of Kuelap consists of massive exterior stone walls containing more than 400 buildings. How did they work? Our first assumption would be that these sites include infrasound transmitters and receivers. Some of the sites have underground rooms, and others have surface platforms where the senders and receivers probably gathered to send and receive messages. The ancient scientists and shamans would project thought forms or messages to stone structures of specific materials and geometry, positioned on nodal geographic locations. These messages were delivered or broadcasted through infrasound stone technology, where infrasound waves were focused and received at similar locations around the globe. Some sites probably even transmitted and received messages from other dimensions or off-world locations. Such sites may be connected to the Ompalo stones, now lost to myth. The Chullpa of Peru, the Nuraghes of Sardinia, the conical tower of Zimbabwe, and the T-towers of Gobekli Tepe are constructed as beehive chambers and towers, serving as energy frequency capacitors for sound and energy amplifying. Besides the cone-shaped and T-shaped towers these sites have in common, they are also marked with animal, reptile, and bird glyphs. Phonetic clues. What clues can we find linking these sites to a common lost purpose? There are some clues, but the clues are very scattered and fragmented. It occurred to me that some of these ancient structures' names have phonetic resemblances with the letter sounds TP. These include Stupas, Gobekli Tepe, Chullpas or Tupas, and the Mutapa structures of Zimbabwe. The TP phonetic root in these names, however, seem to allude to both their geometric shape as well as their function. In terms of their geometric shape, even the Native American teepees, though not stone structures, still have a triangular shape, and the word tepe from Gobekli Tepe also means hill or mound, triangular in shape. Even the English word steep describes the sloping angle. The Sanskrit word stupa means heap or mound. We are obviously dealing with the words of connected origins describing the same geometry. On the other hand, the TP phonetic root also allude to function. The Peruvian Chullpa structure is also called tupa on Easter Island. The Spanish word chupa translates to suck or draw in. The Great Zimbabwe Monument Site is commonly called Munhum Utapa or Mwene Mutapa. This name has been translated to mean owner of the mines. This is because Mutapa may be closely linked to the word mutape, meaning molten gold or metal. Coincidentally, Old Norse word stepa and Swedish word stoppa both mean casting metal. Others translated the word to mean kidnapper because mutapa also means capture. However, this is a simple error or context. The word mutapa correctly means capture, but capture does not mean kidnap. The stone structures were used to capture energy or receive wave transitions. This is a close match to the above-mentioned word Chullpa, meaning to draw in. Simply put, the names Mutapa and Tupa or Chullpa both imply the usage of the stone structures for absorbing and capturing energy waves. Design and glyphs. Reptiles, animals, and birds are prominent wall reliefs or glyphs found at these sites. Silastani Chullpa towers have several relief carvings that closely resemble those at Gobekli Tepe, including serpents, lizards, foxes, pumas, and other unusual creatures. The lizard gator glyphs found at Silastani Chullpas, Gobekli Tepe towers, and Great Zimbabwe could be because lizards respond to an extremely low-frequency electromagnetic field, and this could be a hint of the relevance of low-frequency electromagnetic fields on those specific sites. There is a general resemblance between the architectural styles of Great Zimbabwe and Kuelap in Peru. The zigzag or chevron patterns are found on their wall designs. For both cultural, they represent snakes and wave patterns connected with interdimensional or ancestral communication. Snake reliefs are also found on both Gobekli Tepe and Kuelap stone walls. Curiously, the T-shaped design found at Gobekli Tepe is also found at Kuelap Chachapoya funerary chambers and on the Pinchudos wooden idols. The bird motif is prominent at Gobekli Tepe, Great Zimbabwe, and Kuelap. At Gobekli Tepe, it's the vulture. At Great Zimbabwe, it's the anthropomorphic bird. At Kuelap, it's the condor. The bird sculptures from Great Zimbabwe are actually anthropomorphic. Some of them combined human legs and reptile mouths. If one examines the profile of the crocodile beneath the bird's feet, the geometrical postures resemble the crouching animals on the Gobekli Tepe anthropomorphic T-towers and the crouching creatures on the Chullpa stones. The prominence of animal, reptile, and bird glyphs at these distant communication ancient hub sites may be because of their long-distance infrasound communication or perception abilities. Some animals have the ability to detect coming storms from infrasound. Some birds use the sound of coming storms from hundreds of miles away as cues to migrations, while other birds and crocodiles seem to use infrasound for communication. Whales also use infrasound to communicate over large distances, and elephants use infrasound to keep track of a herd over large distances. Several sites across the globe, prehistoric art called cup and ring marks and concentric circles. This theme is so widespread that they cannot be ignored as meaning primitive doodling. Since these marks resemble the radiation of waves, it is possible that they designated locations of this ancient infrasound communications network. Sometimes close to the location of the towers are standing stones, and in many cases, there are locations around the planet with just megalithic standing stones. Megalithic standing stones are found all around the globe, with most aligning with specific constellations, including the Milky Way. Some standing stones are believed to be located on ley lines, to be wish or intention amplifiers. Even though this brief discussion introduced the use of energy waves at these locations for communication, it is very likely that the energy harnessed in these sites was also used for other purposes.